To lose a loved one was a fate she feared more than anything else. She was tired of the offset it through she tried to offset it through black magic. It was an act of truly absurd foolishness. She must have cared for him so deeply, she would have literally done anything to see him again, no matter the cost of her own immortal soul. Aiko stared deeply into my eyes and seemingly fishing for a reaction to her tale. But then, what happened next was almost beyond belief. I continued listening, unknowingly stroking the wound on my thigh as unpleasant memories of my own foolish run-in with the black magic resurfaced. The Shinozaki bloodline that flowed through Yoshi's veins was much more powerful than anyone could have known. Its energy spawned something much different than what Yoshi intended. By which, of course, I mean... I instantly knew what she was going to say. From the book, she created a new nirvana. There, one could exist with the dead for all eternity. It was a new dimension cut from the netherworld itself, forcibly born into the world of the living. Oh, that's... You saw that? The rat? And then the snake? And then the box head. Yoshi must have lost half her sanity right there. She tried to leave her only child, Sachiko, in the real world while living with her husband's soul in the new nirvana. The land of the corpses. However, this nirvana had a mind of its own. Yoshi couldn't possibly control it, Shinozaki or no. I know that all too well. Just like Yoshi, I'd experienced my own tragic failure with black magic at the Shinozaki clinic. Black magic has its own blowback of sorts. Her husband's soul was split apart and scattered in all directions, and Yoshi's life, too, was on the verge of being snuffed out. I know she'd made a mistake, or she knew that she'd made a mistake. She deeply regretted it, and as she took what she could have only assumed to be her dying breath, her sole daughter, Sachiko, in possession of a nearby limitless spiritual potential, absorbed the entirety of the new nirvana into her body. Sachiko! So this is the principal's room. The poor girl collapsed onto the floor, violently thrashing about the weight of the entire dimension crushing her from the inside. This action had saved her mother's life, certainly, but death would have surely been preferable. Picking herself up, Yoshi rushed to her daughter's side in tears. Chico! Sachi, why? Mommy, don't die, Mommy. Both parents and child were bawling, pain mixed in with relief, mixing with pain again. The little girl buried her face into Yoshi's bosom and just cried and cried. Yoshi grasped her tightly in both arms, tears screaming down her face uncontrollably. Tears. By this point, Sachiko's body had begun producing a dark blue aura. I'm sorry, Sachi. I'm so sorry. Mommy was wrong. Mommy has you, so from now on, Mommy will never leave you. She'll never even think of leaving you again. As you know, Sachiko is a direct descendant of the Shinozaki line, a thoroughbred. This means her power is greater than Yoshi's. It had to be, of course, for her to house an entire dimension within her body. Aiko took a big noisy sip from her coffee mug. At the time, she must have been the strongest practitioner of dark arts in all of the world, little girl or no. Yet despite that, she wound up dying. That's right. The same day, Yoshi fell and died. Sachiko disappeared. That was 50 years ago now. They were both killed by the principal. Just as I suspected. The principal's heinous actions are to blame. Then for resurrecting the new nirvana within Sachiko and creating the closed space as we know as Heavenly Host Elementary. It's probably because the school was the site of Sachiko's violent demise that her nirvana took on its form. Yet, even then, when Sachiko reborn as a spirit in that realm, she was still all-powerful, seemingly continuing to exert complete control over it. I guess that's why she's able to manifest so many different horrible things in there. This was all starting to make a sick sort of sense. The pieces were starting to fall into place and painting an absolutely awful picture. I shuddered to myself as I considered it. When you escaped, you removed Sachiko from the equation, but Nirvana remained, and so it's going to berserk once more. It should have just disappeared. The world should have been better off without it. This entire conversation was a roller coaster of emotions for me, and at this point, I was just angry. Angry at everyone involved in this whole ordeal, myself included. Now then, if I may, I'd like to discuss something a bit outlandish with you. Okay. Would you like to see your dead friends again? What? That certainly got our attention. We both perked our heads up immediately. Spirits that have died in the Nirvana are said to roam its grounds, trapped and unable to find rest. As such, your friend's soul still may exist on that plane. There are actually a number of useful magic listed in the Book of Shadows. Aside from the spell Yoshi used to create the new Nirvana, there's also a spell of revival. Nakashima and I knew that one all too well. Forcibly returning a life to this plane, of course, dreadfully taboo. And it's considered an affront of all will by God, by virtually all religious organizations. Huh? Kashunima seemed a bit more confused than he probably should have been, though I suspected that the look on my face may have been something to do with that. I'd performed that spell, the very one Aiko was describing. It took hours, failed miserably, and killed my sister, all at once. The guilt returned. I lowered my head solemnly. Aiko grinned at me, and I had this sinking suspicion was because she somehow knew that I was thinking, though. I couldn't be sure, and I certainly didn't know how she would. Still, who cares about bullshit like that, right? You can bring the blasphemous. You can be blasphemous. You can break every commandment. Bring it on. You'll do whatever it takes to resurrect your dead friends, no? All you have to do is find that book, cast a spell once more within Heavenly Host Elementary. Your chances of success would be much, much higher there, don't you think? Hold on. Do you have any idea what you're saying? What happens if things get even worse? I didn't exactly mean to interrupt Kishinuma, but quite honestly, I didn't even realize he was talking. I was too focused on what Aiko has just said. You know about it, don't you? Our failed attempt at Yoshi's place, me and Nakashima? Hee. Aiko tilted her head at me, and that same wry smile creeping across her face. She'd gone from a cold emotionalist to knowing and expressive in a mere instant. I don't think we really believed what was happening to us like it was a dream. What we saw was impossible. What we experienced was impossible. I thought I was insane. It shouldn't have been possible. We shouldn't have done it. I just want to put all this behind me. But it was real. Aiko pointed to the scar on my neck, then went one step further and lightly brushed it with her hand. I could feel that touch deep within my soul. I suddenly found myself swallowing my next breath, practically choking on thin air. See? You came in contact with something ordinary people could have never imagined. Do you really think you can just turn tail and run from that now? I looked down again, trying my best to avoid Aiko's gaze. Do you think I could do it? Had I started crying, I raised my hand again, intent looking upon deep into Aiko's eyes as she answered my question, but she looked so blurry through my tears. I couldn't tell though. She was smiling at me. It was that same expression, her new standard. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Can you be more specific? Can I really... Yes, yes, what is it? I want to hear you say it. What exactly is it that you wish to accomplish? Can I bring everybody back? Hehe, nicely done. Aiko's patted my head as one might do a dog after a successfully performed trick. What the grimoire produces are miracles, spawned from the wisdom of the witches, and these miracles hold the power to bend fate. Even if that fate is set in stone, so to speak. You are a descendant of the House of Shinozaki, a family of immensely powerful practitioners of magic, and since Hinoe is no longer with us, this is something only you can do. My confidence was being bolstered by the minute, though in retrospect, that was likely Aiko's aim. Nonetheless, if there were still something I could do for my friends... But, wait! I don't even know where the Book of Shadows is anymore. Plus, you're no longer able to travel to Heavenly Host by the way of Sachiko Ever After ritual now that Sachiko is gone, correct? Yeah, that's right. That's what Yuki said anyways. Yuki Kano, the girl from school. Hee. Aiko once again placed her bluish-white Magatama stones from the box in either hand, this time fitting them together, though not quite the way they're supposed to be interlocked. That's where these come in. What are they? They house an exceptional amount of spiritual energy, as one would expect, given their spirit items from the Shinozaki line. The voice I heard told me about them. They're called Ever After Stones. Ever After Stones? I leaned forward despite myself, and the name sent a shiver down my spine, and now that I've heard it, I had to know more. They're two are one. These two are one. Fit them together like puzzle pieces and chant Nirvana. I summon the dead, and all who are in the direct and indirect contact with them will be spirited away. We both flinched at her chant, but Aiko just smiled. She must have intentionally oriented the stones the wrong way so the charm wouldn't activate. It's the same when you return. She tossed up the stone she'd been holding in her right hand into her left, where she clacked together with the other. Strange, isn't it? This girl taught me the technique herself. Aiko gazed longingly at the stone. She was clearly utterly enamored by them. It seemed as if they were key factors in unleashing her newfound emotional expressiveness. But my focus was elsewhere. Without a doubt, the items Aiko now held in her left hand were extraordinarily dangerous, possibly the most dangerous, horrific objects in the entire world. However, while Aiko was ogling over with them in her left hand, her right was feeling around for something in her breast pocket. She slowly removed it, producing an old black-white photograph. When she had taken it out, it was the same photograph I've seen at Makina Shinozaki's house the previous night. The one with the noose? No, it's the one, okay. The one with all the pictures. The grandma, Yoshi, and the young child. It depicted a young Yoshi alongside her mother and Makina. When Yoshi was in her teens, she adored her aunt Makina and would often go to her place for a visit. The Shinozaki family, world famous for their spiritual abilities, and this is when it all started. The surviving elder of the Yagora Society felt it was too dangerous to leave them these items with the Martubus, so he came here intending to steal the Book of Shadows away from them. But he felt it would be even more dangerous for the book and stones to remain together, so while he gave the book to Yoshi for safekeeping, he gave the stones to Makina. Yagora Society? Martubus? I've never heard these terms before at all. And then there was the damned Book of Shadow again. Why did that have to keep coming up? You removed Sachiko Shinozaki from that school, and in doing so, you created the perfect storm of opportunity. Two-way travel to and from the dimension is now possible. It's no longer a one-way road. A new spiritual hotspot, something not of this world, has been born. She thrust the ever after stones towards me triumphantly and continued to make her pitch, growing more and more excited by the second. I was legitimately speechless. What could I say? Don't you see? That place is a gold mine. People can no longer claim the world of spirits is fake, or the spiritual investigators like myself are lying. It's all different now. Occult research can now be legitimized. I'm even considering bringing people to the cursed dimension on a tour if I can, to make a little extra cash. Kishinuma and I both reacted to this preposterous suggestion with a start. She couldn't possibly be serious, could she? I deleted the proxy doll data from Naho's blog, so no one can be blamed or be able to jump that way anymore. Only I possess the means to enter the place now. Hee hee. What could she possibly have been thinking now? I wanted to stop her all at once. I wanted to make sure these stones, and I wanted to take these stones and break them right there on the spot before anyone else got hurt. But when I begin conducting these tours, however, I want to make a customer safety my top priority. And you seek your friend's spirits, do you not? Well, in reinvestigating that dimension could help you reach that goal. Our destinations are the same, Ayumi. Aiko leaned in as she spoke. Her breath, scented with the sugary sweetness of the extravagant desserts we'd been eating, tickled my nose. So what do you say? Let's go back to Heavenly Host Elementary, together. One more time, shall we? I really wanted to conduct tours using the paper dolls, but missed my chance. Now, though, I have these lovely stones. I feel this must be fate, and I can make a business of it. You're dumb. Say no, Ayumi. Say no. Just leave. Aiko seems like she was on the top of the world, but that just made me more disgusted with her. So how about it? On the other hand, she was offering me a chance to save our lost friends, and however remote the chance may have been, it stacked the odds frustratingly in her favor. I still couldn't say yes, or just say yes, but I couldn't just say no. Honestly, I resented Aiko for putting me in this position. I glared at her for a moment before I said anything. I can't answer that right now. Give me some time to think it over. I'd almost forgotten Kishinuma was there. Suddenly, waves of guilt washed over me. He had absolutely incredulous look on his face. I couldn't bear to look at it, so I looked away. We don't know where the Book of Shadow is. Anyways, plus, how do we know that these stones can actually do what you say they can? There's no way you could have tried it already, right? Aiko smiled. She oriented the two stones so they make a perfect yin and yang symbol, then slotted them together once again. Immediately, the stones began glowing with a bluish-white hue, and the stream of energy started to form around her. You gotta be kidding me. Aiko continued smiling and looked directly into my eyes. Hehehe, no need to decide now. Think it over. Yes, it's true the full range of the stone's power has yet been tested, so their true danger is as yet to be undetermined. She slowly separated the two stones as she said this, and the energy surrounding her dissipated. But they're from the home of the Makina Shinozaki, the prominent branch of the Shinozaki tree. The authenticity and the credibility of my intelligence is hard to dispute. Hell of a thing. Can I see them? Kishinuma didn't wait for an answer. He grabbed the Ever After stones from Aiko's hands and began examining them carefully. Hard to believe this is what was in that box. You weren't planning to keep these stones all to yourself, were you? Aiko seemed to be taken back by the question. Way to go, Kishinuma. You managed to catch her off guard. Half the credit for finding them is due to Shinozaki risking her skin after all. Aiko seemed to ponder these words for a moment. Hehe. Well, then, let's make sure neither of us can go by ourselves. We'll keep one of the two stones. Alright, give me one, Kishinuma. Sure thing. Kishinuma plopped one of the stones in my hand, then slipped the other back into the drawstring pouch Aiko had brought them in and closed it up. There. He then casually handed the pouch back to its rightful owner. Feel free to give me a call anytime you'd like, and don't worry, I'll even help you find the Book of Shadows free of charge. Aiko flashed us the biggest, most gargantuous smile I think I'd ever seen. And when we do find it, you will go with me, won't you, Ayumi? I closed my eyes and gave something like a half-hearted half nod, lowering my head without raising it again. It was interpreted as a yes, but I'm not sure I meant it that way. Good. That being the case, it's on me today. Aiko got up and grabbed the check. No, I'll pay for mine. I took out my wallet. I had no desire to owe this person anything. Aiko just smiled. Dutch it is, then. Hee. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. I'd like you to have this. Aiko handed her thoughtograph to me. Now, it's not going to bite, and I'm not asking for any money for it, so please just take it with my blessing.